From the face-off, inside the Hershey line, retreating at the top of the circle to Dano, across on the left defense for Stevens. His pass halted at center circle by Harlow, firing in behind the Hershey goal. Tracked down along the boards by Dano. Dano left it in the left circle for Stevens. Checked by Turcotte. Dug out right corner by Harlow. Tried to roll one in front, and Lamoureux was there. Lamoureux across on right wing at center for Dano. Reaching the Baltimore line. Leaves it right circle for Dobbin. Firing right across the crease. Deflects to the left point. Stevens fired. Bannerman the save. The rebound in front for Gagne. He sends Shedden away to center at the Hershey line on right wing. Shedden's shot was way wide. Rebound all the way to center zone. Recaptured by Turcotte on the left boards in front of his own bench. Checked by Lamoureux, who was jolted by Harlow as he backhands behind the Baltimore goal. Hoover controls, leads sharply on left wing in his own line for Harlow. Harlow just steered it aimlessly to the Hershey line, and Steve Smith on the left defense directs it back into the skipjack zone. Covering deep in the right circle, Hoover. At center for Sean Toomey, hits the Hershey line, shooting right on. Caught by Young, dropped it behind the goal for Steve Smith, winding it around the left boards in his own line for Berube, rubbed out by Seguin from center. Richer on right wing, fires into the Hershey right corner. Murphy in front of the onrushing Toomey, around the left wing boards for Berube at his own line, backhanding to center, where Richer drove it right back into the Hershey right corner. Murphy in front of Toomey again. Forced deep behind the goal by the checking of Sean Toomey, drove it around the left boards at his own line for Berube again, rolling to center zone. Control by Richer. He turns it over to Hill. Al Hill on left wing at center, winds it around the Jacks backboards all the way to the left side, and Tim Hoover is there. And Hoover inadvertently floats it over the glass into the crowd. With that aborted clearing pass inside the Baltimore blue line on their left wing boards. No further play. 18-17 left opening period, and the game is scoreless from the Baltimore arena. These two teams have combined for an astounding 75 goals in the first 6 meetings this season. Hershey is averaging 8 goals a game against Baltimore this year. They have scored, they have ravaged the Jacks with 29 in the last 3 outings. Richer in front of the goal, up on right wing, his own line for Seguin, in the middle at center for Toomey, firing right on. Young found it in his radar screen, brought it down eye high, and rounding the net with his sable, clearing to the Baltimore line. Hoover's pass, halted at the Hershey line on the left defense by Dave Fenves. He sends it down ice. Bannerman steps out, swept it away from the onrushing Kevin McCarthy in front of the goal. Hoover overskated it. The Kangaroos in front, and Toomey is there. Sean Toomey springs to center, shoots, that's wide. Rebound behind the goal. Sable to control it. Terry Perkins in hot pursuit. Sean Sable is it away at his own line. On right wing at center, the shot was right on. Bannerman the save. Left in the left corner for Kennedy. Now Bob Kennedy along the left wing boards for Byron Lomo, easing it back behind the goal on the redirect for Armstrong, up the boards for Gord Whitaker, the newcomer. Whitaker at center for Terry Perkins. He fired from right wing, right on. Young caught it, leaves it right corner for Dano, up the boards for Lamoureux, at center for Brian Dobbin over the Baltimore line. On right wing for Seabrook, right in front for Dobbin, to the doorstep for Dano, and he waffled one wide. The puck contained center point by Seabrook. Sailed it in behind the goal. Bannerman will control it himself. Murray Bannerman around the left wing boards for Byron Lomo, hoisting it into Hershey territory, where it's tracked down low in the left circle by Stevens. Stevens checked along the boards by the forward checking of J.F. No, but it deflected off No's stick and just sailed into the crowd from there. No further play. 16:46 remaining. First period, game scoreless. Hershey 2 shots, Jacks 1. Faceoff will be outside the Hershey blue line, across the way from us on the Jacks right wing. The Jacks, after launching this 4-game homestand that they are concluding here tonight, with a 7-3 throttling of New Haven last Saturday night, has drooped and died on the vine since, bowing in the last 2 and surrendering an inordinate 16 goals against in the process. One of those defeats inflicted by Hershey here last Sunday night, 10-7. From the faceoff, top of the Jacks right circle, Gagne in the middle at center for Harlow, storming in over the New Haven line, right in front for Turcotte, checked at the crease by Stevens, dug out behind the goal by the trailer Harlow. Now Harlow wheels left boards, left point for Deneen, back behind the goal for Turcotte, and he eludes him all the way to the Hershey left wing boards, and Seabrook whipped it to center. Control by Alfie Turcotte. He swept it back into Hershey territory. Covering up right side of the goal is Daigneault, turning sharply. J.J. Daigneault angles it up on left wing at center for Seabrook from the Baltimore line. The shot right on. Kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound center circle for Lemieux. The former skipjack left it right there for Brian Dobbin, with Hoover really forcing the issue high. He chases Dobbin all the way back in front of his own goal, where he leaves on the defense for Smith. Steve Smith on right wing at center for Dobbin. Broken up by Toomey over the Hershey line for Doug Shedden on right wing. Shedden had penetrated behind the defense with Hershey caught in the line change, but that's offside. No further play. Boy, the Jacks almost had something going there. The Bears were in the middle of a line change and they were nearly trapped. Sean Toomey suddenly materialized at the center red line and left wing. And he threaded a needle with a breakaway pass for Doug Shedden, who had penetrated behind enemy lines, but he was offside. Now from the faceoff, Toomey without a goal in his last 5 games, curls back in front of the goal, leaves it on the right defense for Richer. His pass halted by Berube. And Craig Berube for the left point, drove it off the referee Fawcett, a deflection behind the goal. Covering up Richer. He just rolls it into Hershey territory. Tracked down by Murphy with Sagan dumped in front of the goal by Smith. Murphy at center for Lemieux. Alain Lemieux dances in over the Baltimore line. He wheels in the right circle, shooting! Big save, Bannerman. Back come the Jacks. Now Toomey on right wing at center for Sagan. Hits the Hershey line. He sends Toomey chasing it down in the left corner, poking it behind the goal. Back for Sagan. Checked by Smith, and Lemieux is on the scene to cover up. Lemieux leads on left wing at his own line for Berube. Jammed by Kennedy, pinching in from the point. Covering in front of the Hershey goal is Hill. Now Al Hill on right wing at center. Drove it in behind the Baltimore goal. Lemieux was really sent cartwheeling at the Jacks line by Ian Armstrong. And Lemieux is skating in a gingerly-like fashion back to the bench. Back comes No. JF No through center. Over the Hershey line, left board, centered it. Blocked in front by Berube, who sends it to the Jacks line. Tracked down by Armstrong in front of the goal. Biggs for checking. Armstrong on right wing at center for No. Checked down the defense by Fenves. Controlled on right wing at center for McCarthy behind Armstrong with the Baltimore line. McCarthy's going right in on goal. He fired! Oh, what a save by Bannerman. Rebound along the Jacks left wing boards. Controlled by No. Up the boards at center for Byron Lomo. He sailed it in behind the Hershey goal. Tracked down by Kiprios. Continuous action. 13:50 for a scoreless opening period. McCarthy at his own line at center of Fenves, reaching the Baltimore line with a shot. He struck the side of the net. Rebound to the left wing boards for Sean Deneen. Breakwad on right wing at center for Gord Whitaker. Now Whitaker powers his way in over the Hershey line, poking it into the corner for No. No, back to the left point for Deneen with a shot. Young the save, a tantalizing rebound in front. Captured by McCarthy at center over the Baltimore line. Left circle for Kiprios with a rising shot over top of the net. Rebound right boards for McCarthy. Centered it. Blocked in front by Gagne, who comes to center. Wayne Gagne over the Hershey line. Right in front for Harlow. He shoots. Great save, Young. Oh, Harlow just barged right in. Back on the Bears. Lamoureux scurries to center on right wing. Over the Baltimore line, left in the circle for Dobbin. He couldn't catch up with it. Turcotte was there to cut him off. Alfie Turcotte around the boards. On right wing at center for Doug Shedden, who barrels in over the Hershey line. Right in front for Harlow with a shot. Kicked out by Young. Harlow has the rebound behind the goal. Side of the goal, he still has it. Bolts in front. Harlow shoots. Great save, Young. And the left goal post is off its moorings. Wendell Young has robbed Scott Harlow not once, not twice, but thrice in the last 45 seconds. And Scott Harlow has been very dangerous on the Jack attack, but he's lacked the knack as Young has been brilliant. He has won 14 of his 18 decisions in the Hershey goal this season. 12:39 left, opening period, game scoreless, but the Jacks dominating. Turcotte and Lamoureux on the faceoff. Won by Turcotte, kicking it right boards as he fell to Shedden. Right point for Richer, right in front for Turcotte, the backhander, right on. And Young again pulls off an enormous save with Harlow and Shedden surrounding him at the crease. Alfie Turcotte with a sterling effort. Lamoureux had upended him, but while he was sprawling, he was able to direct it to the right point with his skate blade to Hershey. This time Lamoureux controls it. Behind the goal for the rookie Gord Murphy, who rounds the net with Harlow in pursuit. Murphy to center circle, sailed it around the Baltimore backboards, into the left corner for Seabrook, working on Turcotte. Turcotte spilled him, clears to the line. Steve Smith waiting for it on the left point, shooting, and that was just wide. Rebound to the Baltimore left boards, controlled by Harlow. Harlow up the boards, at center for Alfie Turcotte, rink wide for Shedden. That was interrupted by Steve Smith, who returns it into the Baltimore left corner where Hoover controls. Around the left wing boards, it is old line for Harlow at center for Turcotte, dashing in over the Hershey line. The centering pass deflected by Murphy for Brian Dobbin. Dobbin through center. Poke check neatly by Harlow, but it comes back to him. Now Brian Dobbin on left wing, just outside the Baltimore line, backhand to the side of the goal. Reshake controls. Leads on right wing at center for Doug Shedden. He just chips one to the Hershey line. Covering up there is Dave Fenves, but Fenves scooped it ahead with his right glove to Craig Berube, and the Bears are called on the glove pass. No further play. 11:35 left. Opening period, we're scoreless. Jackson outshot Hershey 6-5. Bears have won 7 of their last 8. They've lost only 2 of their last 14 decisions. In fact, in their last 27 games, the first place Chocolate Town Warriors have won 20, lost only 5, and tied 2. They've won 9 straight over the Jacks dating back to last season. From the faceoff, Dave Fenves will circle in behind his own goal. Terry Perkins shadowing in front. Now Fenves just drove it off the boards to center. Kennedy back to the Hershey line. Headman's for Toomey, who flings it into the Hershey left corner. Sable's pass knocked down right point by Armstrong with a shot. Young caught it. Rebound behind the goal. Fenves controls. Toomey and Seguin forward-checking tenaciously. Fenves pass skips back outside the line. Kennedy will control there. Now Kennedy's pass on right wing for Seguin inside the Hershey line was knocked back into Baltimore territory by Sable. Falling to his knees to control it away from Craig Berube as he had Armstrong on the right defense. Armstrong in the middle at center for Seguin from the Hershey line. A high drive. And that one just took off and sailed over the glass into the crowd. No further play. A break to the action. We're scoreless on the Skipjacks Hockey Network.
Aged 14 years of age and under in those sections enter the games for half price by accompanied by an adult. Lady Jackson will assist with our special plans such as the handicap for children, as well as those birthday parties to your liking. For more information, call 727-0703. That number again, 727-0703.
Back to the play. JF no to the side of the goal. Rolled it into the crease. Jabbed away by Young, but control left wing boards by Lomo. Lomo drove it across to the right point for Gagne pinching in. He was poked away from him neatly by Kiprios back to center zone. Gagne hurries back forward, back in front of his own goal for Deneen, giving it back to Wayne Gagne. Gagne springs to center, hits the Hershey line right circle, shoots right on. Young the save, rebound in the Hershey right corner. Stevens slips the check of Lomo in the corner boards. Now John Stevens up on right wing at center from McCarthy over the Baltimore line for Daigneault. He's around Gagne, right in on goal. The Daigneault backhander, a great save by Bannerman. Rebound to the Jacks left boards, contained by Kiprios. Kiprios along the boards for Big, centered it. Blocked at the doorstep by Wayne Gagne, who propels it down ice. Reached behind the Hershey goal by J.J. Daigneault. Icing charge against the Jacks. 9:37 left, first period. The game is scoreless. No penalties have been doled out either by referee Mark Fawcett. The Jacks tonight are minus right wing Britt Peer with a recurrence of his wrist injury. Val James remains incapacitated with shoulder maladies, and Gordy Whitaker is making his skipjack debut tonight. 6'2", 205, a 21-year-old first-year pro assigned earlier today by the Winnipeg Jets through its Moncton Hawks AHL affiliate. Last season at Colorado College in the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, Whitaker with 38 points in 34 games, 21 goals, 17 assists, 69 penalty minutes. From the faceoff, Turcotte won it behind the goal for Hoover, dishing to the right corner boards for Richer. Up the boards at center for Shedden, skated off by Lamoureux. Now Lamoureux on the left wing board, sidesteps Shedden's check, drove it in behind the goal. Then he eludes Bannerman, who stepped out right corner for Dobbin, lying in wait. The centering pass for Lamoureux, checked in front beautifully by Richer. He sends Harlow on his way to center over the Hershey line, left circle for Turcotte. Turcotte leaves it there for Shedden, trailing Shedden, centered it. Blocked in front by Dobbin. Brian Dobbin romps to center. Over the Baltimore line, leaves it on right wing for Murphy, trailing. Murphy pulls up at the point, centered it. Knocked out in front by Shedden. It skips into the right wing corner of the Jacks. Dug out diligently by Dobbin. In the left circle for Seabrook with a shot. Kicked out by Bannerman, and the Jacks control the rebound. Scott Harlow to center at the Hershey line for Turcotte, trying to barge through the defense. It skipped off his stick behind the goal, and Smith controls. Now Steve Smith leads on left wing at center for Seabrook. He hits the Baltimore line, leaves it left circle for Dobbin, trailing. Dobbin whirls into the corner, fleeced off his stick masterfully by Harlow. Now Scott Harlow at his own line, gathering speed at center over the Hershey line for Shedden. He tried to power his way through the defense, checked by Lemieux. Now Alain Lemieux springs to center. Over the Baltimore line and left wing for Seabrook with a shot. Kicked out by Bannerman. That one bowled him over. Rebound to the right boards for Terry Perkins, and the Jacks are away. Perkins through center, hits the Hershey line. He wheels into the left wing corner, waltzed into the boards there by Fenves. Toomey and Hill are on the scene as well. Toomey tried to muscle it loose with Hill draped over his back. Toomey scoops in behind the goal. Right in front for Perkins with a shot. Oh, Young the save. Rebound into the right corner, and Fenves is on the scene. Dave Fenves at his own line for Lemieux. In the middle, he feathers it to center zone for Seabrook, flipping it in behind the Baltimore goal. Covering up is Ian Armstrong, shedding the Hill check. Armstrong leads on right wing at center for Seguin. Seguin barrels in over the Hershey line, pulling up right boards in the circle for Toomey with a shot. Muffled on the defense by Dino. Back comes Hershey. Hill on right wing at center. Zooms in over the Baltimore line, pulling up across to the left point for Stevens with a shot. Bannerman sealed the angle expertly. Rebound behind the goal. Seguin will round the net. Leave it in front of the goal for the trailer Gagne. Gagne turned it over in front to McCarthy, then stripped it off his stick immediately. Now Gagne up the right boards at center for Seguin, poking it to the Hershey line, covering Dano. Up the middle at center for Berube. He had his pocket picked by Gagne. Rolled it back to the Hershey zone. On the left defense, Stevens across on the right side for Dano, and back for Stevens at the Bears line. John Stevens in the middle at center for Kevin McCarthy, crossing the Baltimore line. Skated off in front by Gagne, who wrapped it to center. Gord Murphy on right wing will control that. He sails it in behind the Baltimore goal. Continuous action, 6:29 left in a scoreless opening period. Now Wayne Gagne behind the goal. Kevin McCarthy shadowing in front. In front of the goal for Sean Deneen. He just fired it off the boards to center. Steve Smith charges in over the Baltimore line for the left circle. Shooting! He rang it off the goal post, and the rebound slid right back underneath the sprawled Murray Bannerman, and Bannerman secures it underneath his back. No further play. The Jacks were living on the edge, teetering on the cliff. A break in the action, 6:12 left first period, still scoreless on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. With the glasses? No. It's the guy sitting next to him. Terry Ficarelli rejoining you live. Baltimore Arena, 6:12 left in a scoreless opening period. From the faceoff, Gord Murphy, center point, collects it. Backhands in behind the goal for Lamoureux. He was rubbed out robustly by Hoover. Corralled on the left side by Charlie Meitner in the middle at center for Whitaker. Now Whitaker at the Hershey line. His pass halted by Lamoureux. Lamoureux at center for Dobbin over the Baltimore line. Drop pass for Lamoureux. Top of the left circle with a shot. A chest-high save by the leaping Bannerman. Rebound to the right corner for Stefan Richer. He drifts it into Hershey territory. Murphy in front of the goal, right up the middle at center for Lamoureux. At the Baltimore line for Dobbin, who slams on the brakes. Checked right there by the Skipjacks defenseman Richer, who's high stick by Dobbin in retaliation. but that was uncalled. Contained on the right point by Gord Murphy. Murphy sends it in behind the goal. Bannerman steps out, drove it around the boards for Gord Whitaker on right wing. The Jacks newcomer clears the zone. Steve Smith on left wing sends the puck skimming right back into the Jacks' right corner. Tracked down by Richer, rounds the net. Stefan Richer at his own line, gathering speed at center. On left wing, he wrapped it in behind the Bears' goal. Jacks are changing. Rounding the Hershey net is Fenvez. Leading on left wing at his own line for Dave McClay. Jumped off his stick into the skipjack zone. In the right circle there, Kennedy clears to center zone. Sable returns it into the Baltimore zone, and on the right boards, Deneen controls up the boards at center for Shedden. Over the Hershey line for Alfie Turcotte, slipping the check of Sable in the right circle, leaving it there for Harlow trailing. Now Harlow forced to the boards by Hill. Rubbed out by McClay, but he poked it side of the goal for Turcotte, who brings it in front, shooting! Great save, Young! Harlow and Shedden and Turcotte all crashed the crease, lifting the net off both of its magnetic moorings again behind the goaltender, Wendell Young. No further play. Boy, Alfie Turcotte came off the right wing corner boards, bolting in front, while line mates Doug Shedden and Scott Harlow crashed the crease in a fearless fashion. And again, Wendell Young with a superlative save. Jacks have been outshot 10-9 in the opening period. Faceoff will be circle left of the goaltender, Wendell Young. He's 14-4 this season. First start against the Jacks, Darryl Gilmore had the previous 6 all victories. 6 of Gilmore's 8 victories posted against the Jacks this season. Now Lemieux and Turcotte, 2 former teammates, banished from the faceoff, so it'll be Doug Shedden and Don Biggs. Sticks come down. Shedden decides to drive it into the corner. Sable was there, his pass halted, right wing boards by Harlow lying in wait. Harlow in the corner, centered it, blocked by Fenvez. Alfie Turcotte was sent cartwheeling in front of the goal by a Sean Sable trip, and he'll be incarcerated with the game's first penalty at 15:39. A break in the action, 4:21 left, first period. Jacks power play coming up. It's scoreless on the Skipjacks Hockey Network.
23, Sean Sable, 2 minutes for interference. Time of the penalty, 15:39.
Skipjacks having help.
Hershey penalty, number 23, Sean
Did you write it down?
2 minutes for interference.
Write it down.
Time of the penalty, 15:39.
All right. Now from the face-off, Wayne Gagne at the right point. Right in front for Turcotte with a shot. He struck the side of the net. He was right in on goal. The rebound at the top of the left circle, and Mitch Lamoureux is there to sweep it down ice. Sable for Hershey, 2 minutes interference, 15:39, 1:40 for the power play as Alfie Turcotte rounds his own net. Leaves it in front of the goal for the trailing Steve Seguin in the middle at center for Harlow. Snapping it in behind the Hershey goal that eludes Young, who came out all the way to the left wing boards. Hill clears the line. Gagne contains right point. Along the boards for Scott Harlow. Right in front for Shedden. Skidded off his stick into the corner, but he chases it down there. Shedden behind the goal for Turcotte. He forced a centering pass in front for Seguin, pulling his way in from the crease, knocked away by David. David at center of the Baltimore line for Hill. Spilled by Harlow, who springs to center. Scott Harlow speeds in over the Hershey line. He wheels right in front. Spun around by Fenvez. Back come the Bears. It's Al Hill at center circle in a leisurely-like fashion, steering to the Baltimore line. Gagne controls. Wayne Gagne on right wing at center for Alfie Turcotte, dashing in over the Hershey line. Leaves it right circle for Shedden with a shot. Young the save with Harlow breezing by. Rebound to the left wing boards. The Bears player Stevens with a thunderous check was upended by Gagne as he cleared to center. A thunderous hip check by Wayne Gagne from center circle. Perkins sends it skipping back into the Hershey zone, and then he shouldered Stevens lustily himself as the puck deflects into the crowd at the Hershey blue line across the way from us. No further play. The Jacks have intensified, escalated their physical technique here tonight after being completely outmuscled here Wednesday night when Maine marooned them in that 6-2 snafu. 26 seconds remaining in the Jacks power play. 2:47 for the period. We're scoreless. From the face of it, Kangaroos to the right point. Gord Whitaker drove it in behind the goal. Daigneault in front of Perkins controls. J.J. Daigneault fires it to the line. It deflected off the linesman outside the line, and when Stefan Richer reached back from the right point and brought it back into the zone, that trapped all of his Skipjack teammates offside. 15 seconds remaining in the Sable penalty. 2:36 for the opening period, and we're scoreless. Stay tuned on New Year's night, as always. We will guess with the Skipjack fan of the game. That's coming up at our first intermission. Now Tim Hoover at the Hershey line on right wing for Whitaker with a shot right on. And Young came high off his skates to make sure he secured that one right up along the right shoulder blade. Gordy Whitaker, the newcomer who just arrived this afternoon from Moncton, New Brunswick in the Maritimes. And that time he charged in on right wing and uncorked a rising sizzler. In the meantime, Skipjack's right wing Steve Seguin is departing the proceedings, and he seems to be limping noticeably with his right leg. Seguin has been an excellent acquisition as compensation for Hershey's signing of Alain Lemieux, the discontented one. Now from the faceoff, rolls in behind the goal. Perkins controls it. Perkins wheels to the left boards and pulls up. Penalty over behind the goal for Whitaker. He didn't expect that one. And Sean Sable back from the penalty box, controls at center for Lamoureux. Over the Baltimore line on right wing for Biggs. Biggs tried to force a centering pass through Hoover in front for Lamoureux, and Hoover blocked it. Hoover sends Gord Whitaker on his way to center. Over the Hershey line on left wing for Perkins, and Stefan Richer was overeager and offside on right wing. A break in the action, 2:02 left, first period, still scoreless on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. No, I don't know. Oh, okay.
Watch my hand too. That's why I plan on today.
Now back to the play at center zone on left wing. Nick Kyprios launches a rising, rocketing missile into the crowd deep along the Baltimore left wing corner boards to our right, and that had a few of the hungover Skipjacks fans suddenly re-experiencing a less than numb state. Boy, they were really ducking and low bridging it along the corner boards there. Faceoff will be just to the Skipjack side of the center red line. 1:51 left of the period, we're scoreless. Sean Dineen will circle back behind his own goal in pursuit of Lemieux. Dineen dishes to the right corner for Gagne, who's away. Wayne Gagne from center. Drove it into the Hershey right wing corner. Digging in after it, Lomo. Left point for Dineen, and he was caught out of position and off balance, and he eludes him into the Baltimore zone. Bannerman charges all the way across to the left wing boards and controls it away from Lemieux. He hides it away from him and sends it to center. Lemieux will curl back to his own line for Hershey and start out. Alain Lemieux from center with the shot. Bannerman takes it off the waffle board, rebound to the right circle for Wayne Gagne, who watches his clearing pass disappear into the crowd at the Skipjack blue line on right wing. No further play. 1:14 left opening period, and the game is scoreless from the Baltimore Arena, and the shots on goal are also even, Steven, at 11 aside. And we will attempt to ascertain the matter with right wing Steve Seguin. He departed, and it appeared that he was favoring his right leg. He was limping noticeably when he made his exit stage right to the Jacks dressing room. Seguin has been an excellent acquisition. 4 goals and 3 assists for 7 points for the Jacks, and 3 of those have been triggered against his former Hershey teammates. Faceoff barely inside the circled arc, right of Bannerman. Turcotte controlled deep in the right corner for Richer. Richer sends Turcotte breaking away at center with a Hershey line, and Fenves rushed across and leaned on Turcotte with the muscle check. With a minute left in the period, Turcotte steals from Dobbin at the Hershey line, tried to spin off the check of Sable, and Sable rode him off. Controlled in front of the goal by Mitch Lamoureux. Now Lamoureux at center circle collides with Turcotte. No further progress there, but Dave Fenves on right wing outside the Jacks line fires in behind the goal with 38 seconds left in the period. Richer will control. Stefan Richer in front of his own goal. Right up the middle at center for Scott Harlow. He just eases it in behind the Hershey goal. Young fanned on the pass. Turcotte waiting in the shadows. Right corner. Centered it. Blocked in front by David, who romps to center on the three-man break over the Baltimore line. Right in front for Fenves. He's right in on goal. The Fenves backhander. What a save by Bannerman. And the Jacks are away. Deneen across on right wing at center for Shedden. Disrupted by Sable and fired in behind the Jacks goal from left wing by Brian Dobbin. Now Bannerman will leave it left side of the goal for a Harlow as the horn will sound, signifying the conclusion of the opening period, and it certainly was a stellar. Now from the faceoff, second period action underway in the scoreless tie. Puck into the Hershey zone, tracked down at the backboards by Turcotte, crunched by Stevens, but contained right point by Gagne. Now Gagne, a screenshot, struck Turcotte in front. Turcotte spins and shoots right on. Oh, what a save by Young. He robbed Turcotte, who spun off the check of Stevens in front. Back on the Bears, Seabrook to center. He hops it over the Baltimore line, swept off his stick neatly by Gagne in the circle. Gagne sends Harlow to center. Scott Harlow tried to burst in over the Hershey line through the defense, skidded off by Smith. Controlled on the right boards by Lamoureux. Now Mitch Lamoureux at center for Dobbin. Brian Dobbin hits the Baltimore line, top of the left circle with a quick shot right on. Bannerman the save. He directs the rebound left wing corner boards for Harlow, who had peeled back. Now Harlow is underway. Gathering speed center circle, stroking it in off the Hershey backboards, covering the Karen Berube in front of the onrushing Terry Perkins. Berube on the cross on the right defense for Gord Murphy. Murphy from center, shoots it around the Baltimore backboard to the left point for Smith, who fanned on the shot. It just waffled to Richer. Stefan Richer from the right circle, at center. Sailed it in off the Hershey corner boards. Al Hill clears to the line, blocked by Hoover right in front for Seguin, who's back. He couldn't reach it. Back on the Bears. Alain Lemieux on right wing at center. He was muscled along the boards by Richer. Controlled at the Jacks line by Hoover on the left defense. Tim Hoover in the middle at center for Toomey. Forced all the way back in front of his own goal by the forechecking persistence of Hill and Berube. Leaves on the right defense. Toomey does for Richer at center for Seguin. Steve Seguin with a Hershey line left circle with a shot. Murphy muffled that one. Deflects into the Bears' right corner. Controlled by Steve Smith. Up the boards at center for Alain Lemieux. Over the Baltimore line right in front for Hill. Skated off by Kennedy, who fell. But Hill digs it out in the right corner. Centered it. Action halted, I believe. We have a penalty coming up. And I believe it's to Hershey's Alain Lemieux. Lemieux and Ian Armstrong were at the top of the circle, and they were jostling each other in a rather rambunctious spirit. I think both will be banished. Lemieux for Hershey, the former Skipjack, and Armstrong for the Skipjacks, the former Hershey Bear. And both of them are flagged at 2:03. They were at the top of the circle to the left of Bannerman, and they were jostling each other in a rather rambunctious fashion. We'll await the call on the penalties. Lemieux is for slashing, Armstrong for cross-checking at 2:03. From the faceoff at center point, Sable flooded it in behind the Jacks goal. Bannerman steps out, sends it around the left wing boards for Perkins, redirecting it behind the goal, out of harm's way for Deneen. Now Sean Deneen with big sport checking tenaciously. Around the boards on left wing for Sean Toomey. Now Toomey wheels all the way across on right wing at center, over the Hershey line. He fired it right in on goal. Young the save. Rebound behind the goal. Controlled by Sable is clearing pass, halted at the left side. Along the hash mark by Perkins, who came across. Perkins in the corner for Sagan. Right in front for Perkins with a shot. Kicked out by Young. Rebound to the right corner. And Sable is there, and he launches it down ice to alleviate skipjack pressure. Kennedy reaching it behind the Jacks goal, and Hershey is charged for icing. 17:08 left, second period. The game is scoreless, and the face-off will ensue. Circle right of Wendell Young in the Hershey goal. And Young has really been razor sharp tonight. The Jacks have enjoyed some glorious scoring opportunities, but they have failed to capitalize. This game completely out of character as far as the previous 6 this season, the previous 9 dating back to last season. It'll be No and Lamoureux on the faceoff. Charlie Meitner's only had 1 shift on the ice thus far tonight for the Jacks. Sticks come down. Won by Lamoureux, deep in the right corner. Daniel flings it around the boards on left wing at his own line for Seabrook. Up the boards at center for Lamoureux. Richer interrupted. Now Richer turned it over at his own line to Dobbin. Dobbin tried to roll one in front for Seabrook, and No was there. No to center. He sends Hoover streaking it after over the Hershey line on the left wing boards with a sharp angle shot, and that was wide. Rebound right corner for Richer, pouring in from the point. He centered one to the crease, right off the stick of No, and back come the Bears. Lamoureux to center, over the Baltimore line, leaves it top of the right circle for Seabrook, broken up by No. No clears to the line. Lamoureux failed to hold it in at center point, and that traps the Bears offside. A break in the action, still scoreless on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. All right, just forget it. No, let's just forget it.
If I see it, you're gonna ask me.
Who? Yeah. Now back to the play. Doug Shedden at his own line. The Jacks captain will leave it there on the defense for Deneen. Sean Deneen lugs it through center circle, shooting. Stick save Young. Rebound in front. Gord Murphy collects it, sending it to center zone. Alfie Turcotte will control on left wing. Poked off his stick by Hill. Back into the Hershey zone. Corralled on the left defense by Smith. Cross ice on right wing at center for Dave McClay. Over the Baltimore line for Berube in the right circle. Shooting. Kicked out by Bannerman, with Hill backing into the Jacks goaltender. Dug out right corner by Gagne. Up the boards for Shedden, and the Jacks start out. Doug Shedden to center. At the Hershey line for Turcotte. Broken up by Hill. Control back at center zone by Gagne on right wing. Now Wayne Gagne, a stride shy of the Hershey line, drove it in behind the goal. Murphy controls. Now Gord Murphy on right wing at his own line for McClay. In the middle at center for Hill. Backhanding behind the Jacks goal. Bannerman will come out. He drove it into the left corner for Terry Perkins, and the Jacks are away. Perkins headmans it at his own line for Harlow. His pass stolen by Kiprios. Poked off his stick by a recovering Scott Harlow. Back to center zone. McCarthy will control. Kevin McCarthy spun around by Harlow, who steals. Harlow is drummed to the ice by Sable. Puck at center zone, and Don Biggs whipped it in behind the Jacks goal. Covering is Hoover. Hoover on right wing at his own line for Shedden. It jumped off his stick to the Hershey line, where Sable sends it cross ice on the right defense for Fenves. His turnaround pass halted at center by Hoover. Over the Hershey line for Shedden. Left circle for Perkins, pulling up. Forced wide of the boards by Fenves, who rubbed him out robustly and cleared down ice from the right circle by McCarthy. Controlled by Bob Kennedy at the Jacks line. At center for Sagan, skidded off by McCarthy, played at the Hershey line by Fenves. In the middle at center for Kevin McCarthy, over the Baltimore line for Don Biggs. Right in front for Kiprios, tripped by Hoover. There will be a Skipjacks tripping penalty to Tim Hoover, as Nick Kiprios, who has scored 6 of his 18 goals, including 2 game winners against the Jacks this season, was slipping behind Hoover right in on goal when the Skipjacks vastly improved defenseman reached back and upset him at 5:42. Hoover for the Jacks, 2 minutes for tripping at 5:42. This will be Hershey's initial power play of the night. And the Bears' power play blistered the Jacks here last Sunday night, going 5 for 5. The Bears are 15 for 34 against the Jacks on the power play. That's nearly 50%. On the season, the Bears' power play has struck 57 times, foremost in the league. Jacks have allowed 6 power play goals against in the last 7 opportunities for the opponents. From the face-off, the Daniel point shot for the right side, kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound, right wing boards for Lamoureux, comes off the boards into the circle, into the crease for Seabrook, he scores! Glenn Seabrook, another power play goal, and Hershey leads 1-0. Boy, that Hershey power play has just wrecked the Skipjack ship this season. They are 6 for 6 in the last 2 games, 16 for 35 on the season, and the Jacks now have allowed 7 power play goals against in the last 8 opportunities for the opponents. And this was a penalty-killing team that, though ranked last, had showed remarkable improvement in recent weeks. Seabrook 16th is 6th against the Jacks. Mitch Lamoureux and J.J. Daigneault the assist. It originated on the Daigneault heavy shot from the right point. Lamoureux retrieved the rebound in the right corner, came off the boards into the circle, and drove it to the doorstep, and Seabrook, with his stick behind Bannerman, was able to wedge it home at 5:55, just 13 seconds after Hoover was chased. Seabrook from Lamoureux and Daigneault, that's 21 points for Mitch Lamoureux against the Jacks. Jacks have yet to win a game this season when they yield the game's opening goal. And they're down now 1-0. From the face of Lamoureux in the middle at center. Across the left wing for Seabrook, firing in behind the Jacks goal as he was jolted lustily by Seguin. And then the puck squirmed off the backboards on a mysterious hop involving Sean Toomey. And Murray Bannerman had to be very alert. And he pounced on it about 6 feet in front of his own crease very energetically. 13:50 left, middle period, 1-0 Hershey. Perkins and Lamoureux on the face-off, circle right of Bannerman, Baltimore goal. Sticks come down, won by Perkins, collected behind the goal by Gagne. His pass halted right corner by Dobbin. Dobbin drove it around the backboards all the way to the right side, and Seguin is there for the Jacks. Now Seguin up the boards on right wing at center for Perkins, who drove it behind the goal. Claim for the defense by Daigneault. Now Daigneault's pass halted at the right boards by Perkins, lurking in the shadows. Perkins back center point for Toomey, right circle for Perkins, to the crease for Seguin, shot, he scores! Steve Seguin, Jacks tie it 1-1. Crease, and he converted on Terry Perkins' elegant goal mouth pass. Seguin's 5th, 4 of those against his former teammates. Perkins on 1 assist. We'll await the 2nd assist probably to Sean Toomey, who originated it from deep in the Hershey right corner. It's a 1-1 tie, the 2 teams trading goals in 41 seconds. That is a momentous goal for the Jacks. No springs to center over the Hershey line, top of the left circle, shooting! Oh, Young the save. The rebound was airborne in front, and Murphy guided it with a glove pass diagonally to the right boards to his own line for Lemieux, and action is halted on the glove pass. Boy, JF No that time found a seam in the Hershey defense and broke through. It was Seguin from Perkins and Toomey at 6:36. Seguin's 5th. Face-off circle right of Wendell Young, Bears goal. It's a 1-1 tie. And the shots on goal are also even, Steven, at 16 apiece. It'll be Byron Lomo for the Jacks, Elaine Lemieux for the Bears on the face-off. Lomo won it. Left point, Hoover fired. That struck Whitaker's leg at the top of the circle, deflects across to the Hershey left wing boards. Covering up there is Murphy, and Murphy's pass, I believe, traveled over 2 lines to Craig Berube along the left side. No further play. 12:54 left, second period. It's a 1-1 tie. The two teams exchange goals in rapid-fire fashion, a lightning-like sequence of 41 seconds. Seabrook on a power play, a 16th from Lamoureux and Daigneault at 5:55. The Jacks answer right back at 6:36 against 5th from Perkins and Toomey. From the faceoff, Hoover hurries across forward at his own line on the left defense, and he just floats it down ice. Steve Smith will outdistance J.F. Noford. He touches it, and the Jacks are charged for icing. 12:45 left, middle period, and it's a 1-1 tie from the Baltimore Arena. The faceoff will occur circle left of Murray Bannerman in the Skipjacks goal. This game has really been out of character for these two clubs in a very radical fashion. This has been a very close to the vest, close checking affair here tonight. A much more defensively oriented game as compared to the free-spirited firehouse hockey that has really been more in vogue this season between these two rivals. From the faceoff, Doug Shedden at his own line on right wing. Tried to feather one ahead in the middle at center for Turcotte. Knocked away from him by Biggs back to the Jacks blue line, where Ian Armstrong on the left defense backhands down ice. They'll negate icing as Fenves scrapes it off his own backboards, rounding the net and clearing to center. Deneen on right wing, drifts it right back behind the Hershey goal. Covering up for the Bears is Fenves, evading the check of Shedden in the middle sharply at center for Biggs. Over the Baltimore line on right wing for Kevin McCarthy on the boards. His centering pass knocked down by Harlow. Now Harlow just rolled it outside the line to center, where McCarthy sends Kyprios in over the Baltimore line through the left circle. He fired after the whistle on the offside, and the fight is on. Deneen and Kyprios to the side of the Baltimore goal. Sean Deneen becoming indignant with Kyprios' actions after he fired in the left circle after the whistle had sounded when Kyprios was offside. And Deneen has Kyprios alongside the goalpost. He has lost his helmet. Deneen has. The two now topple in the Baltimore right corner. And the linesmen are there, and they will dislodge the Desperados. But accolades and plaudits to Sean Deneen. He wins the holiday hearts of this New Year's night Baltimore crowd. Nick Kyprios poured through the left circle, and after the whistle had sounded with the offside being called against the Bears and Kyprios, he drove the shot on goal anyway. Bannerman did not relax, and he did grab it, but Sean Deneen was right there on the scene on the defense on the coverage on Kyprios, and he thumped Kyprios as he really took umbrage with Nick Kyprios' actions. Deneen and Kyprios 5-minute majors for fighting at 7:58. We have a break in the action. It's Jacks 1, Hershey 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. He was agreeable. Was Frank standing right there when he agreed? Yeah. Now from the faceoff, Alfie Turcotte swings past the check of Seabrook at center, whirls in over the Hershey line, brings it right in on goal with a shot as he crashed the crease, bowling over Young, who made another great save. Back come the Bears, Lamoureux through center over the Baltimore line, left circle for Seabrook with a shot, right on. Oh, and Bannerman grabs that one, and then nearly threatens to shish kebab Brian Dobbin, who had charged the doorstep with a rising rooster-tailing residue of his snow shower. And the Jacks seem to mean business tonight. Bannerman and Dobbin now having words. Bannerman and Lamoureux having words at the crease. Boy, Murray Bannerman pulled off a sparkling save as Lamoureux, Seabrook, and Dobbin streamed three abreast over the Baltimore line, and they were really pouring right in on goal. Bannerman pulled off a superb save, and then with Dobbin, who has sniped 9 goals in 3 games, 9 of his 16, always a Jacks menace, was right there, and Bannerman nearly threatened to shish kebab him with that big paddle. Talking about a Benihana act in goal. From the faceoff, puck to the right side of the Baltimore goal. Corralled by Alfie Turcotte. Turcotte in the middle sharply at center for Scott Harlow, but that one is offside. It dribbled off Harlow's stick anyway. No further play. The Jacks really appear to mean business here tonight. They were certainly involved in a humbling experience here Wednesday night against Maine. You may recall that GM coach Gene Ubriaco conducted his own version of the Late Late Show in the Baltimore dressing room after the game. He stated all the fans had to watch it, the coaching staff had to watch it, the players had to watch it. They all stayed after the game and watched the entire Skipjack shipwreck here on Wednesday night when Maine marooned them, and they certainly were examining the ruins in a rather graphic fashion. Now from the faceoff, Stefan Richer behind the Jacks goal. He just slammed it off the left wing boards at center for Seguin. Seguin tried to leave it for Toomey trailing. Al Hill was there to seize it and fired it in the Baltimore zone. Corralled on the right boards by Seguin, and he just knifes it into Hershey territory. Hill in front of the onrushing Perkins, at center for Berube over the Baltimore line, across on the right side for Lemieux, leaving it left circle for Hill with a shot. Bannerman the save. Lemieux in front, slid the rebound right through the open side of the crease on the short side. Puck to the side of the goal. Lemieux centered it. Berube is right in front, and he was checked by Bannerman. Control behind the goal by Toomey. Leaving it left corner for Perkins, slamming on the brakes right in front of the goal to escape the clutches of Hill. Now Perkins headmans it on left wing at center for Richer. Stripped of the puck by Lemieux. Crossing the Baltimore line, Lemieux right in front for McCarthy. Knocked away by Perkins. Dug out though in the left corner by a spinning Craig Berube, rolling it to the crease. Tim Hoover was there, and Hoover rolls it into Hershey territory. Control by Steve Smith, high-stepping at the center on right wing over the Baltimore line, swerving through the circle, and Hoover waltzed him into the boards and crunched him, but it squirms right in front. McLean fired. Great save, Bannerman. Rebound left point for McCarthy. Right point for Murphy. Right in front for Smith with a shot. Great save, Bannerman. He's on top of it in the crease. No further play. Oh, Murray Bannerman has been spectacular in this second period as Hershey, as if a thundering herd on a stampede, storming and swarming that Skipjack goal. And Bannerman, with that huge wingspan, has really spread out and rebuked the Bears. Faceoff will be left of him in the Jacks goal. 9:39 for the middle period. It's still a 1-1 saw-off. Biggs won it from No. Skids in behind the goal, though, and Gagne is on it. Clearing to the line, Sable for the left point, fired. Blocked in front by Gagne. He can't find it. Now Gagne is cracked by Biggs at the whistle in front of the goal. It was lodged, I believe, in Gagne's underarm area. Oh my. Well, we hope that for the puck's sake that Wayne Gagne had his 5-day deodorant pad in full service. Faceoff will be circle right of Bannerman in the Jacks goal. No and Biggs on the faceoff. JF No is banished. Byron Lobo will oppose Don Biggs, the player of the week in the AHL. Won by Biggs, but springing out of the pack with it is JF No on right wing at center. Chugging in over the Hershey line, stapled to the boards by Sable, controlled on the line by McClay in the middle at center for McCarthy. Over the Baltimore line along the right wing boards for Biggs, right in front for McCarthy. Skated off by Whitaker, who pulls him down. And there will be a Skipjacks holding penalty to Gordy Whitaker, the newcomer. Simply a case of Whitaker becoming over-exuberant in his back-checking responsibilities in front of that Skipjack goal. And the Hershey power play has been lethal. They are 6 for 6 in the last 2 games against the Jacks. and they are 16 for 35 on the season against the Jacks. That's over 45%. Whitaker, 2 minutes holding, 10:49. Jacks have only blanked their opponents on one of their last 8 power play opportunities. Face-off circle left of Murray Bannerman in the Jacks goal. Turcotte and Lamoureux on the face-off. Won by Lamoureux. Right point for Daigneault. Top of the slot for Dobbin. Left point for Steve Smith, loading the gun, shooting, kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound to the right point for Daigneault. Now J.J. Daigneault. Right circle for Seabrook with a shot. Knocked out in front by Hershey, deflects to the low right circle, and Scott Harlow is there, and he sails it down ice. Controlled at the Hershey line by Steve Smith, up on right wing at center for Dobbin. Over the Baltimore line for Lamoureux, tearing in behind the goal. He was crunched robustly by Hershey, but charging in from the right point to control in the corner is Daigneault. Daigneault behind the goal for an upright. Lamoureux centering it. Blocked in front by Harlow, who finds an opening, and he sends it down ice. 1:09 for the power play, 8:20 for the period. It's a 1-1 tie. Hershey underway, Dobbin on right wing at center. His pass was blocked at the Jacks line by Tim Hoover on the defense, firing it down ice. Control behind the goal by the Bears. Rounding the net with it is Alain Lemieux, and he'll start out. Lemieux in the middle at center for Fenves, who darts it over the Baltimore line, pulling up along the left wing boards. He'll fire. Bannerman the save. The rebound is airborne into the corner. Fenves pours in from the point to control. Now Fenves twisting and turning along the boards. Back to the left point for Biggs. Right point for Murphy. That shot! That was wide. Rebound into the right corner, and Terry Perkins is there, and he fires it down ice. 25 seconds for the penalty. 7:35 for the period. It's 1-1. In front of the Hershey goal. Lemieux checked by Perkins, who was toppled in front by Murphy, who headmans it on right wing at center of Fenves, hurrying in over the Baltimore line. The puck was caught in his skates as Hoover checked him, and Tim Hoover steers to the Hershey zone. Tracked down by Hill with Perkins in pursuit. Hill leaves it back on the right side for Fenves, back for Hill on left wing at center, over the Baltimore line, penalty over. Now Hill centered it right through the crease. Lemieux couldn't get there in time, but charging in from the right point, Murphy behind the goal for Lemieux. He centered it, halted in front by Perkins. The Jacks stream out 3 abreast. Terry Perkins through center over the Hershey line, right in front for Whitaker. Whitaker shoots. He struck the side of the net. Rebound behind the goal for Seguin. Seguin tried to roll it into the crease. Knocked into the corner by the goaltender Young. Hill jostles for it there with Seguin, who kicked it behind the goal for Perkins. Perkins back for Seguin. Now Seguin, left wing boards for Whitaker. They're bumping and grinding. Whitaker centered one as he was falling. Lemieux blocked it in front, and he sends Dobbin romping up the right side at center. Hershey rushed across and stripped it off his stick, and back come the Jacks. Steve Seguin, left wing at center. Drove it in behind the goal. Continuous actions, Jacks change. Control by Hershey at center zone. Controlled by Daigneault, firing in behind the Baltimore goal from right wing. Gagne is there, slipping the check of McLean at the backboards. Up the middle at center for Turcotte. Over the Hershey line, he sends Shedden chasing it down on the right side. Leaving it at the right point for Gagne, trialing. Gagne pours right in on goal to the doorstep for Harlow with a shot. Oh, a spellbinding, sprawling save by Young, who robs Scott Harlow at point-blank range. No further play. A break in the action. 5:52 left. Jacks 1, Hershey 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network.
17710 and 17814. If you have one of these winning numbers, please report to the scorer's table at once. Thank you.
Back to the play. Behind the Baltimore goal, Bob Kennedy thumped by Biggs, but on the scene to cover up the alert Alfie Turcotte, wrapping it off the left wing boards past Harlow, all the way to the goaltender Young. Dropping it off behind the goal for J.J. Daigneault. Shadowed in front by Doug Shedden. Shedden being wrapped up in front of the goal by Stevens. Now the clearing pass by Daniel on left wing at center for Kiprios. Skated off by Kennedy. Control back at the Hershey line by Daniel again. Up on right wing at center for Don Biggs. Hits the Baltimore line, leaving for McCarthy, who whirls past the sprawl. Bob Kennedy right in front for Kiprios, and it snaked off his stick at the lip of the crease, and it's fired down ice for the left boards by Armstrong. Fired back to the Baltimore line by the Hershey defenseman Daniel. Armstrong controls in the middle at center for Harlow. Scott Harlow over the Hershey line, left circle, shoots, and that was wide. Rebound to the right point for Richer, pinching in. Richer, side of the goal for Harlow. Now Harlow comes off the boards. Left point for Hoover, and he fanned on it. Contained center point by Richer with a shot. He telegraphed that one. McCarthy muffled it. Deflects to the Hershey right boards. Lemieux controls it and steers into Baltimore territory. Hoover hustles back for it. Drove it back to center zone where Daniel sends Lemieux jitterbugging into the Baltimore line, swerving through the right circle, swooping in behind the goal. And Lemieux running on empty was stripped to the puck from there by Stefan Richer. And he'll send it down ice. Murphy on the touch behind the Hershey goal. Jacks charge with icing. A break in the action. 4:10 left, middle period. It's Jacks 1, Hershey 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Piccarelli rejoining you live for the Baltimore Arena. 4:10 remaining, second period. The two teams traded goals 41 seconds apart earlier on in the stanza. It's a 1-1 tie. Face-off right of Bannerman, Jack's goal. It'll be Noah and Lemieux, two former roommates when they were teammates here in Baltimore. The veteran and the rookie. They present arms. Lemieux won it. Left point. Smith fired. Oh, Bannerman flexed the pad at the last instant on that screen shot. And the rebound was covered in the left hash mark by Sean Deneen. And Deneen just raked a rocket over the glass into the crowd. No further play. And the face-off this time will originate circle left of Bannerman in the Baltimore goal. 4:05 left, second period. We want to remind you that Hershey's injured captain Don Knockbauer will join us live in our second intermission, so please stay tuned for that. It'll be Lomo and Lemieux on the face-off. Sticks come down, won by Lomo. Corral behind the goal by the pirouetting Sean Deneen. Around the right wing boards for Whitaker, sending to center. Gord Murphy fired it right back in behind the Jacks goal from right wing. Deneen will cover. On right wing at his own line for Gord Whitaker. Now Whitaker through center, drifts it into the Hershey right corner. Digging in after it is Hill as he cut off the on-rushing JF No. Hill up the boards at center for Lemieux of the Baltimore line for Craig Berube, trying to thunder through the defense and behind Ian Armstrong, but Berube is offside. No further play. 3:40 remaining, second period, and it's a 1-1 tie on New Year's night from the Baltimore Arena. Hershey has outshot the Jacks in the second period, 14-7, 26-18 throughout. We want to remind you that the Jacks are on the road the next two nights. Tomorrow night in Adirondack, Sunday night in Newmarket. Both games right here on the Skipjacks Hockey Network at 7:15. This grueling January schedule consisting of 18 games in 30 days with only 6 of them at home will continue with home action next Tuesday night. That'll be the Jacks' next Baltimore Arena appearance, entertaining Utica. Now Ian Armstrong does center, lopes it over the Hershey line along the right wing boards. He was squeezed there by Sable. Controlled by the Bears, Glenn Seabrook on left wing. He drove it across into Baltimore territory. Hoover chased him behind the goal by Dobbin. Leaves it there for the trailer, Terry Perkins. Perkins in front of the goal for Hoover. Up on left wing at his own line for Toomey. Rinkwad on right wing at center for Perkins over the Hershey line. Right circle. And he was checked from behind at the last split instant by Seabrook as Terry Perkins was set to squeeze the trigger. But Toomey at the top of the circle, trailing, fired, sticked aside by Young. Rebound behind the goal. Collected by Sean Sable. Now Sable's pass halted at center zone by Steve Seguin. And Seguin on right wing drove it right back behind the Bears' goal. Sable will control it from the touch pass by the goaltender Young, drifting it to the Baltimore line. Gagne will leave it there for Toomey, curling back. Sean Toomey back for Wayne Gagne at center. Over the Hershey line for Richer, left circle for Sean Toomey. And Toomey is offside for the Jacks. No further play. 2:32 remaining. Middle period. This has been a well-polished game, played with a lot of class, and certainly with a lot of grace and elegance from two normally testy arch rivals. In fact, there have been a minimum of penalties tonight. Hershey 1 for 2 on the power play tonight. The Jacks have only enjoyed one power play opportunity. Out of character for the Bears, but Hershey is only ranked 4th this year in penalty minutes. That distinction belongs to Maine. Now on left wing at center, Daniel with the Baltimore line in the circle for Biggs, right in front for Daniel with the shot. Oh, Bannerman the save on the Daniel deflection. The rebound comes all the way back to the Hershey line. Tracked down by Stevens, a pass was stolen outside the line by Shedden, who was lurking in the shadows. And Doug Shedden just rolls it in behind the goal. Covering up is Daniel. His pass knocked down right boards by Turcotte. Now Turcotte shoots, screen shot, right on. Young the save. The rebound is fired down ice by Daniel. Reached behind the Jacks goal by Gagne. Hershey charged with icing. Boy, Alfie Turcotte that time elected the element of surprise. Although on the right wing boards, he came off the boards just barely inside the circle. And he hid a shot. He disguised one in the screen. And he really snapped it. And Young did not react until the last split instant. Right at the doorstep. In fact, the shot just danced right through the unguarded side of the crease. Neither Harlow or Shedden could get there in time to convert. Faceoff will be left of the goaltender. 1:49 for the period, a 1-1 duel. Turcotte and Lemieux. Sticks come down. Won by Lemieux. He'll control it to the left boards for the Hershey defenseman Steve Smith. And he just floats it down ice. Covering behind the goal is Denis. Dishing right corner to Bob Kennedy. Kennedy jammed along the boards by Lemieux. Seized in the left circle by Berube. Berube wheels along the boards. Denis draped over his back, rode him off. Now Denis deep in the right corner. Up the boards for Shed. Blocked left point by Lemieux. Across to the right circle for Hill. Shooting! Bannerman the stick save. He'll fall on the rebound in front as he lunged for it with both Lemieux and Berube cruising the doorstep dangerously. 1:14 remaining in the middle period. It's a 1-1 tie, and the face-off will have its occurrence circle left of Bannerman, who has been brilliant in the Baltimore goal tonight. Again, we want to remind you the Jacks' next home game will be right back here at the Baltimore Arena next Tuesday night. Next Tuesday night, they will entertain the Utica Devils, one of the 3 teams that the Skipjacks have victimized this season. It'll be Byron Lomo for the Jacks and Elaine Lemieux for the Bears on the face-off circle left of Bannerman. Lemieux has been very prolific with Hershey as expected. A much better supporting cast for him with the Bears than here with the Skipjacks, and that's the type of environment that the Count thrives in. Now from the face-off, deep in the left corner. Hoover's clearing pass, blocked at the top of the circle by Berube, but it came back to Hoover, and he'll control for Whitaker on right wing at his whole line. Gord Whitaker at center for Seguin, and his shot deflected off Murphy with a minute left into the right corner of the Bears. Murphy will retrieve it there, and he just sweeps it down ice. Richer to scurry back to reach it, and the Bears are charged for icing. 49 seconds for the second period. It's a 1-1 tie, and the tempo has diminished considerably in the waning moments of this middle period. These two teams have collaborated for exactly 100 goals in the last 9 meetings dating back to last season, all Hershey victories, with the Bears averaging 7 goals per game in that span. They've averaged 8 goals a game against the Jacks in sweeping the first 6 this season. Not to be outdone, the Jacks have ripped 20 goals against the Bears in the last 3 games. Lomo won the face-off. Hoover for the left point. Shoots right on. The save by Young. Rebound up on left wing of the Hershey line for Seabrook. At center for Dobbin along the left wing boards. He drove it into the Baltimore corner. Overpowering Hoover for it is Biggs. He centered one. Dobbin shot in front. Knocked down by Richer, and the Jacks are away. Gord Whitaker to center. Chugs in over the Hershey line. Swerving through the left circle. The Whitaker backhander is right on. Young the save with 20 seconds left on. Biggs springs to center on right wing. reaching the Baltimore line. He pulls up on the right point. Along the boards for Dobbin. Behind the goal for Seabrook. It's skidded off his stick. Dug out behind the goal by Hershey. Hershey leaves it left corner for Lomo, rolling it to the line with a point shot by Fenves. Sailed over top of the net as the horn will sound, symbolizing the conclusion of the second period here. Behind the goal for Daniel. J.J. Daniel on left wing in his own line for Seabrook. Rinkwad on right wing at center for Brian Dobbin. Beyond him into the Baltimore zone. Tracked down by the high-stepping Ian Armstrong. Armstrong on right wing at center. Wrapped it into the Hershey right corner. Jacks are changing. Now Murphy will control. Right in front of the goal for Smith. Nearly stolen by Harlow. They just cleared the Baltimore zone. Controlled by Ian Armstrong. He just sailed it off the right wing boards to center, and Steve Smith returns that one in behind the Jacks goal. Riche will collect it, snapping it crisply up on left wing for Harlow. Now Scott Harlow in the middle at center for Turcotte at the Hershey line, and right wing for Shedden, who pulls up. He sends Turcotte after it behind the goal. Pinned to the boards by Murphy. There'll be a Hershey penalty coming up. Scott Harlow was spilled in his flight from the right circle behind the Hershey goal as the trailer. And there will be a Bears tripping penalty to Alain Lemieux. Lemieux's second penalty of the night. Boy, that is a real rare experience for the count of goal scoring majesty. Not one, but two penalties in one night. Lemieux entered tonight's game with only two penalties all year. One with the Jacks in 16 games. One with the Bears in his first 11 games in Hershey. Lemieux's second minor of the night. This one for tripping at 1:23. The Jacks are 0 for 1 on the power play thus far. 18:37 left for regulation, and we're locked in a 1-1 duel. Turcotte won the faceoff. Left point for Seguin. Into the corner for Turcotte. Behind the goal for Shedden. Back along the boards for Alfie Turcotte. He pivots, holds. Turcotte, side of the goal for Shedden, centering it. Center point, Gagne drove it into the left corner for Turcotte, but Fenves was there to intercede, and Dave Fenves just sails it down ice. Wayne Gagne in front of his own goal, leaves it there for Seguin. Back for Gagne on right wing at his own line. Across the left wing at center for Harlow over the Hershey line. Harlow directs it into the corner for Turcotte. Turcotte jammed by Fenves. The two fall. Harlow is there. Now Harlow back to the left point for Seguin. Seguin holds at the blue line. Loads the gun. Shoots. That was just wide to the short side with Shedden screening in front. Rebound behind the goal. Turcotte stripped of the puck by Fenves, and from the right boards, Al Hill fires it down ice. 1 minute for the power play. Jacks at their own line, Shedden. In the middle at center for Harlow, crossing the Hershey line, pulling up on the left boards, drove it in behind the goal. Shedden is there behind Young, who stepped out. Shedden tried to slip it back right point for Gagne, and Dobbin was there to interrupt and come to center. Brian Dobbin over the Baltimore line, left circle for McCarthy, centered it, blocked in front by Seguin. Steve Seguin, right wing at center for Shedden. At the Hershey line for Harlow, halted by Murphy at center for Brian Dobbin over the Baltimore line around Gagne. Dobbin is right in on goal, and Shedden rushed back and rode him off. Now controlled in front of the goal by Shedden. Doug Shedden, a breakaway pass at center for Toomey over the Hershey line. Toomey is in alone with a shot. A great save by Young. Toomey has the rebound along the left wing boards for Perkins. Terry Perkins thunders into the corner. Perkins leaves it there for Toomey. Now Sean Toomey centered it. Left point contained by Deneen. Along the boards for Perkins. Right in front for No instead. Behind the goal for Toomey. Penalty over. Toomey left point for Deneen with a shot, and that was just wide. Young never saw it. The rebound control behind the goal by Smith. Smith drove it around the left wing boards for McClay. Checked by No spins off the jolting check of McClay, who is then pinned to the boards by JF No further play. 16-13 left. The Jacks power play was formidable but failed to capitalize. The game remains deadlocked at 1-1. Tim Hoover, we have received a report from the Skipjacks dressing room that defenseman Tim Hoover is suffering flu symptoms. He is back on the Jacks bench, but we'll see if he'll see any more service. Face-off barely inside the rim of the circle, left of Young. Hershey goal. Perkins and Biggs on the face-off. Won by Biggs, corralled behind the goal by John Stevens. Now Stevens sheds the Toomey check. On left wing at his own line for Daniel. Daniel from center with the shot. Right on. Bannerman stick to the side. Rebound Kangaroos right across the crease, and Gagne is there to send Steve Seguin romping up the right side at center. Over the Hershey line. Seguin pulls up, centered it. Blocked in front by Hill, and Hershey's away. Al Hill from center circle. Launched it in off the Baltimore backboards. Bannerman wrapped the carom into the corner. Hill is waiting for it. There is centering pass. Knocked down by Gagne at center for Toomey. Over the Hershey line on the left wing for Terry Perkins. And Sean Toomey is offside on right wing for the Jacks. No further play. A break in the action. Still the Jacks won and Hershey won. On the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Back to the play. Jacks control in their own zone. On the left defense, Sean Deneen. Up the boards at center for Meitner. Only his second shift. Jumped off his stick back into the Jacks zone. Cleared to center by Armstrong from the right defense. And Sean Sable from left wing returns it behind the Baltimore goal, and Deneen will turn with it. Deneen at his own line for Lomo. Up on right wing at center for Whitaker. Over the Hershey line for Meitner right in front. The Meitner shot deflected in the corner by Fenvez. Meitner and Fenvez jostle forward vigorously there. Lomo and Lamoureux are on the scene as well, and that quartet will lock it up deep in the Hershey right wing corner. No further play. Charlie Meitner with only his second shift of the night, and that time he poured in, and from barely above the left hash mark, he zinged the shot, but instead he struck Fenvez, who was riding him off. And the puck just deflected harmlessly into the corner where Meitner and Fenvez waltzed one another into the boards and locked it up. Face-off circle right of Young. Hershey goal, 14:51 left, 1-1 tie. The game scoring confined to 41 seconds early in the second period. From the face-off, Biggs controls behind the goal for Smith. His pass halted right point by Richer with a shot, and that was just wide to the short side. Rebound comes up the Hershey right boards for McCarthy. At center for Biggs. Biggs rolls it into the Baltimore zone. Richer came across there. His pass halted at the right point by Murphy with a shot, and McCarthy in front deflects it over the glass into the crowd. No further play. Kevin McCarthy was doing a spinorama in front of the goal as the Murphy shot struck his stick and just sailed into the crowd. So that'll produce a face-off outside the Skipjack blue line. 14:29 left. It's a 1-1 tie. Both goaltenders have really been standouts tonight. From the face-off, Gord Murphy on right wing at center, winds it around the Jacks backboards all the way to the left point for Smith. His shot struck Berube in the circle, and it skids to center zone. Smith will send it skipping right back into Baltimore territory. On the right hash mark there at the boards, Richer to fire it right on goal. Young will control it behind the goal for Gord Murphy. Now Murphy barely skirts the check of Harlow, but turned it over left corner to Turcotte. Right in front for Harlow with a shot. What a save by Young. Rebound in front again. Oh, Harlow at the doorstep for Shedden. To the crease for Turcotte, and it wiggled off his stick to the right boards. Harlow has it. Now Harlow comes off the boards, shooting. Blocked in front by Smith, who was wrapping up Shedden. Contained left point by Deneen. He drove it in behind the goal. Murphy is on it. Checked by Harlow, surrounded by Shedden. Stolen left boards by Turcotte. Left point for Deneen, and it jumped over his stick to center. He has to curl back to his own line, and he'll just hoist it into Hershey territory. It lands in their left corner, and Steve Smith will control it. Now Smith from the Hershey defense. His clearing pass seized at center by Perkins, who just stepped down, but he was promptly checked by Berube, who sends Biggs in over the Baltimore line. Biggs pulls up top of the right circle. Right in front for McClay with his back to the net. Checked by Gagne, and for the left boards, Deneen rifles it down ice. Daniel chased into his own right corner by Perkins. He slams on the brakes and avoids the Terry Perkins check. J.J. Daniel center circle at the Baltimore line on left wing with a kangarooing shot on goal. Bannerman the save, the rebound to the right corner for Bob Kennedy, sending into Hershey territory. John Stevens will control in front of the goal, surrounded by Toomey and Perkins, but he headmans it in the middle at center for Biggs. Don Biggs scoots it over the Baltimore line, wheeling to the right wing boards, losing the check of Sagan, then Sagan from behind the goal tripped him. There'll be a skipjack penalty coming up. Action halted, and Steve Sagan will be chased for tripping. At 7:33, Don Biggs was whirling in behind the Jacks goal, and Steve Sagan draped over his back, holding down. 2 minutes for tripping for Sagan at 7:33, 12:27 remaining. And I believe the penalty, though, is to Bannerman. I think they have called the penalty on Bannerman and not Sagan. Apparently Bannerman's stick was there as well.
2 minutes for tripping.
Both Sagan and Bannerman apparently converged on Biggs. Biggs may have glamorized it just a touch, but it was definitely a skipjack infraction, but it was to Bannerman. Sagan, though, will serve it. Well, that's probably appropriate. Murray Bannerman, who receives the penalty, he now has 18 penalty minutes for the Jacks, and this is only his 14th appearance. So Bannerman's been on the somewhat blustery side. Face-off circle right of him in the Jacks goal. Turcotte and Lamoureux on the face-off. This is a crucial juncture for the Jacks. From the face-off, they tangle truculently on the dot in the circle. Work loose by Dobbin. Left circle for Lamoureux with a shot right through the crease as Seabrook was spilled by Deneen in front. Seabrook is upright right boards. Right point for Smith. His shot was muffled by Harlow. Deflects into the right corner. Seabrook will control. Deneen draped over his back. Seabrook leaves it there, though, for Lamoureux. Back to the right boards for Glenn Seabrook. Now Seabrook comes off the boards into the circle. Side of the goal for Lamoureux. Comes into the right circle, shooting. And the Lamoureux shot was wide to the short side. Rebound to the Baltimore right boards for Turcotte. At center for Harlow. He barrels to the Hershey line and then will curl back to center, turning it over to Dobbin. Dobbin bursts into the Baltimore line. He's ready on goal to the crease for Lamoureux with a shot. Oh, what a save by Bannerman. Sprawling on his back, he smothers it. No further play. That time Scott Harlow unwittingly got himself in trouble. He was starting to barrel in toward the Hershey line, and just as he reached the line, he suddenly slammed on the brakes, spun around, and returned the puck back into his own zone. The problem was there were 3 Hershey players surrounding the scene, and the Jacks were caught in an offensive move, an offensive mode. The Jacks were caught in an offensive mode, and the Bears were streaming right in on goal. Face-off circle right of Bannerman, Jacks goal, Lomo, and Lemieux on the face-off. Won by Lomo convincingly, leaving it right corner for Hoover, who has returned. His pass halted by Lemieux at the left boards. Back to the left point for Fenves. Center point for Daniel. Along the right boards for Don Biggs, who pulls up. Now Biggs into the corner for Kyprios. Kyprios behind the goal for Lemieux. Now Alain Lemieux to the right point for Daniel. The screen shot struck Richer in front, and the Jacks break out 3 abreast. Richer at center on right wing for Perkins with a shot. Young the save, 38 seconds for the power play. Daniel behind the goal to operate. He sends Fenves scurrying up the left side at center. Dave Fenves reaches the Baltimore line, pulls up on the left point. Right point for Daniel. Left point back for Fenves, and back for Daniel on the right point. Along the boards for Lemieux. Right point for Daniel. Left point for Fenves with a shot, and he whistled it wide. The rebound caroms off the Jacks left wing corner boards. Down ice. 11 seconds for the power play. J.J. Daniel at his own line. Lugs it up the left side at center. Drove it in behind the goal. Bannerman himself fired it up on left wing at his own line for Harlow. And Scott Harlow controls it on right wing at center for Sagan, who just stepped out of the penalty box, but that one traveled 2 lines. Jacks offside. A break in the action. 10:24 left. Jacks 1, Hershey 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. I don't know.
Looks packed.
See, they seem like they're always about 400 or 500 short all the time. Doesn't it seem like to you? It seems like they're always. It seems like looks like there's always about 400 or 500 more in the building. I would have guessed 29 or 3,000. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live, Baltimore Arena, 10:24 left, third period. It's a 1-1 tie. In this third period, Hershey 4 shots, the Jacks 6 shots. Both goaltenders have really been standouts tonight. From the face-off of the Baltimore zone, controlled on the right defense by Hershey, clearing the center circle where John Stevens controls. His pass halted by Charlie Meitner. Meitner at center, trying to muscle his way over the Hershey line, but he couldn't make it through. Murphy rode him off. Controlled at the Bears line by Lamoureux. In the middle at center for Seabrook, behind him as he was cracked by Hershey. Comes to the side of the Jacks goal. Bannerman himself on right wing at his own line for Whitaker, clearing the zone. John Stevens on left wing, rockets it around the Baltimore backboards. Hoover will control it. Tim Hoover's clearing pass beyond Whitaker on right wing all the way to center. Murphy will control. Gord Murphy on right wing at center, fired back in behind the goal for Hershey. Controlling is Hoover. Leaving it there for Hershey, and his clearing pass deflected off the forechecking stick of Brian Dobbin over the glass into the crowd. And that'll produce a face-off circle left of Bannerman in the Skipjack goal. 9:37 remaining in the scoreless third period. The game's 2 goals were crammed into a 41-second sequence. It was Seabrook from Lamoureux and Daniel on a power play at 5:55, and Sagan Smith from Perkins and Toomey at 6:36. And that's been the entire night scoring, wrapped up in 41 seconds early in the second period. Face-off circle left of Bannerman, Jack's goal. Alfie Turcotte with a 5-game scoring streak on the line. Scott Harlow has a 6-game streak on the line. In the face-off, but he won it. Up on right wing at center for Shedden, and Doug Shedden's lead pass for Scott Harlow just took off and landed in the Hershey bench. Gord Murphy at center ice at the Hershey bench reached down and retrieved it, and he just tosses it into the crowd to a fan whose date is wearing Greg Tebbett's road jersey. Happy New Year. Faceoff will be barely to the Skipjack side of the center red line. Lemieux won it from Turcotte. At the center red line, Dave Fenves on right wing. Rockets it around the Skipjack backcourt. Left side for Berube. Overpowering Gagne into the corner. He's met there by Turcotte. Spins off his check. Centering pass struck the side of the net, deflecting behind the goal for Lemieux. Now Lane Lemieux along the boards, back for Berube, overpowering Turcotte, centering one for McCarthy, who fell. It squirms to the left boards again, and Berube chases it down. In the left circle for McCarthy, and Turcotte was there to check Kevin McCarthy. Now Alfie Turcotte is away. At center for Harlow. At the Hershey line, leaving for Shedden, interrupted by Sable. Control back at center zone by Shedden. Doug Shedden drove it in behind the Hershey goal. Sable watched in behind the goal by Harlow. Sean Sable leads on left wing in his own line for Berube, clearing the center zone. Hoover feeds Harlow, who steps it over the Hershey line, right in front for Shedden. He didn't expect the pass as he was right in on goal. It's skidded to the netminder Young, who dishes to the left boards where Berube clears to center. Control by Kennedy. Over the Hershey line on left wing for JF. No, but Scott Harlow was pushed over the blue line by Sean Sable in the center lane, and the Jacks are offside. A break in the action, 8:23 left. Still the Jacks 1, Hershey 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Back to the play. Puck in the Hershey zone. Murphy drags it in behind the goal with Sagan pursuit. Gord Murphy's clearing pass meant for Kiprios on left wing at his own line. Eludes him into Baltimore territory. From the right circle there, Armstrong clears the zone. Steve Smith on right wing at center. Wrapped it right back in behind the Jacks goal. Armstrong controls it again. Fired to the line. Smith on the left point. Holds with a shot right on. Bannerman the save. Rebound back to the right boards, and J.F. No sails it to center, where Steve Smith will stroke it into the Baltimore left corner. Covering the carom, Hoover in front of Hill, leaving it there for Armstrong coming across. Ian Armstrong up the boards at his own line for Toomey, sidestepping the check of Biggs. Now Toomey at center for Seguin, over the Hershey line in left wing. Seguin barrels into the corner, holding up, shouldered lustily by Daniel. Corralled behind the goal by Al Hill. He sends Lamoureux chasing it down right to the goaltender Bannerman, who swept it away from the onrushing Lamoureux, who had penetrated to the Baltimore right boards, where Gagne and Lamoureux jostle for it there. They continue to tangle for it truculently, and finally, Lamoureux forces Gagne to kneel down on it. No further play. But the former Skipjack center, who recorded his 21st point in 7 games against the Jacks this season, has forced a face-off deep in Baltimore territory, circle right of goalkeeper Murray Bannerman. We have exactly 7 minutes remaining in the third period, and it's a 1-1 tie. The Jacks and the Bears. The last shot heard reverberating around the Baltimore arena in the form of a goal came way back at 6:36 of the second period. Steve Seguin crashed the crease and converted on a Terry Perkins feed that emanated from the right circle. Now for the left point, John Stevens' shot was right on. The pad saved by Bannerman, and then Lamoureux inadvertently high-sticked Byron Lomo on the rebound in front of the goal, but Lomo maintained control and drove it to center, and play goes right on. Well, Byron Lomo is still flinching. Left side of the Jacks' goal. It's finally recovered by Sean Deneen, who fires it down ice. Rounding the Hershey net as they negate icing is John Stevens. Up the middle at center for Dobbin. Dobbin hits the Baltimore line, working on Kennedy, who rode him up, but trailing is Daniel left circle. Daniel centered it, and Seabrook was checked at the doorstep by the Jacks. Charlie Meitner, and the Jacks are away. Bob Kennedy at center circle on right wing for Whitaker, launching it across over the Hershey line, left circle for Lomo. Lomo twisting and turning along the board, skidded off by Lemieux. Lemieux feeds Dobbin. Dobbin across on left wing at center for Glenn Seabrook over the Baltimore line, forced wide of the boards by Kennedy, who wrapped him up, and it's fired to center by Whitaker. On left wing, Sean Sable rifles it around the Baltimore backboards all the way to the right point for Fenves with a shot right on. Bannerman nabs that one, with Kennedy chaperoning Lemieux in a rather robust, if not rude fashion from the goal crease for the Skipjacks. 5:47 remaining. Regulation time. This has been a hale and hearty performance by a Skipjacks team that has had some chinks in its armor recently, allowing 16 goals against in their last 2 starts, falling to a 1-2 record on this 4-game homestand that they are completing here tonight. Face-off circle left of Bannerman in the Baltimore goal. It'll be Turcotte and Lemieux, the principals. 5:47 remaining. Won by Lemieux. Lemieux right in front for McCarthy. Right point for Fenves with a shot right on. And Bannerman squeezes his pads together to lock it up. No further play. And Dave Fenves that time hid that shot in a well-conceived screen after Lemieux and McCarthy were operating from in front of the goal for the Bears in a very deceptive fashion. Face-off circle left of Bannerman. Won by Turcotte this time. Taken from the circle by Hoover. Leading in the middle at center, Hoover for Scott Harlow, sending it into the Hershey left corner. Digging it after to Sable ahead of Shedden. Sable's pass. At center for Fenves, over the Baltimore line on the left wing for Lemieux. Slipping it in the circle for Berube. Waltzed into the boards by Armstrong, who forced him wide. Skids in behind the goal. Bannerman drove it around the boards as he was checked from behind by McCarthy. Fenves pinching him from the point. Tries to direct it back behind the goal for Lemieux. Overpowered by Turcotte. L.B. Turcotte tearing to center on right wing. Over the Hershey line in the circle there for Harlow. Knocked away back into the Baltimore zone by Fenves. Deneen comes across on the right defense, will control it in the circle for Shedden, curling back. Now Doug Shedden just fired it off the left wing boards, down ice. Hill to reach it behind the Hershey goal. Jacks charged with icing. A break in the action, 4:49 left. Still the Jacks 1, Hershey 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live, Baltimore Arena. From the face-off, the puck skims into the Jacks left wing corner. Perkins and Biggs jostle each other, both fall in the corner. They continue to tangle for it along the boards. Deneen and Hill, it finally squirms in behind the goal, and on it is Gagne. Delivering it right boards for Sagan. Stripped of the puck by Smith, barging in from the point. Smith into the corner. Spun around by Perkins, and the Jacks are away. Steve Sagan, his own line to center. Steams in over the Hershey line with a high drive over top of the net. Rebound behind the goal for Biggs. Angling it up on right wing at his own line for Hill. Al Hill through center, hits the Baltimore line. Along the right wing boards for Kiprios, backhanding to the side of the goal. Bannerman poked it in behind the goal, but Biggs is there, centering it. Blocked in front by Perkins. And Terry Perkins from the left hash mark drove it into Hershey territory under 4 minutes left. Steve Smith at his own line. At center on left wing, sends it in behind the Jacks goal. Rounding the net is Richer. Richer pulls up as Dobbin was there to meet him. He just drove it to center zone. Seabrook controls. Over the Baltimore line for Lamoureux. Top of the right circle for Dobbin. Shooting. Knocked down by Richer, who wrapped up Dobbin. The puck all the way across to the left point for Stevens. Stevens' shot was blocked by Whitaker, and it deflects over the glass into the crowd at the Skipjack right wing boards. 3:29 left. Third period in regulation. It's a 1-1 tie, and in this third period, the Bears have 8 shots, and the Skipjacks have 8 shots. 36-31 Hershey. It's been even Steven throughout, and this has been a very impressive Skipjack performance against this high-tech, high-octane Hershey contingent that has roasted them for 48 goals in the first 6 meetings this season, 29 being produced in the last 3. From the faceoff, Daniel backpedaling in his own left corner as Meitner watches him. Up the boards for Lamoureux at his own line at center for Glenn Seabrook, dashing in over the Baltimore line. Seabrook drags it into the corner where he's crunched by Lomo. The puck squirms in behind the goal. Kennedy draped over the back of Dobbin, overpowered him. Now the Jacks spring out. Byron Lomo romps to center over the Hershey line, working on Daniel. He's right in on goal. The backhander by Lomo. The save by Young. Rebound in the left corner. Whitaker and Meitner are there. Meitner trying to work it loose away from Lamoureux, but covering up Dobbin, clearing to the line where the reshaped point shot whistled wide. Rebound to the right point for Lomo with a shot, and he fired it wide. Rebound Hershey right corner for Daniel. Drove it around the boards, contained right point by Kennedy. Right in front for Meitner, crossing the crease, checked by Daniel. Rebound behind the goal. Daniel will cover up. Lost it to Whitaker. Whitaker left wing boards for Lomo, pulling up. Byron Lomo backhands behind the goal, but no skipjack there. Whitaker had been wrapped up in front of the goal by Stevens. Lamoureux in front of the goal for Hershey. On left wing at center for Seabrook, fluttering in into the Baltimore left wing corner. 2:08 left as Harlow will control for the Jacks. Now he pulls up to escape the check of Lemieux, dishing left corner boards for Deneen. Across right corner for Kennedy. Bob Kennedy in the middle at center for Turcotte, sending it in behind the Hershey goal for the Jacks. Young out of the goal, drove it around the boards for McClay. Up the boards on left wing at his own line for Lemieux. Lemieux in the middle at center for a trailing Dave Fenves, who tears in over the Baltimore line along the left wing boards. He was squeezed there by Gagne. Skips in behind the goal. McClay is there. He was jammed by Deneen, but it's dug out behind the goal by Lemieux, who centered one. And McCarthy right in front, fired. What a save by Bannerman. Rebound all the way back in front of the Hershey goal. Fenves pass jumped off the stick of Lemieux to center zone. Control by Harlow on right wing. Over the Hershey line. In the circle for Turcotte. Right in front for Shedden. Right through his legs. Back come the Bears. McCarthy on left wing at center for McClay with a shot right on. Chest high save by Bannerman. He headmans it himself on right wing at center for Shedden. Over the Hershey line, the drop pass for Turcotte. He fired it wide. Back comes Hershey. A minute left for regulation. Al Hill wheels on left wing. Over the Baltimore line. Right in front for Biggs with a shot. Right through the crease. Rebound behind the goal. Bannerman steps out. Drove it around the right boards himself for Shedden. Checked by Hill. Top of the left circle. Kiprios fired. Stick save for Bannerman. Rebound controlled in the right circle by Shedden. On left wing at center for Scott Harlow. Backhanding behind the Bears goal. Jacks change. 34 seconds for regulation as Daniel rounds the Hershey net. Now J.J. Daniel on right wing in his own line for a Hill. Hill backhand to the Baltimore line. Deneen is on it. Sean Deneen on left wing at center. at the Hershey line for Terry Perkins. He'll curl back to center. Backhand into Hershey territory. Charging after this Sagan along with Biggs. They shoulder one another. Sagan works it loose behind the goal. His centering pass and Biggs blocked it. He controls it to the right boards for Hill, who rolls at center circle. 3 seconds left. Gagne shoots from center circle. Young to save. The horn sounds. And we're heading. Minute 2:5 and 3 will be in goal to our right for the Skipjacks. The first goal wins it. If neither team scores during this 5 minutes, both teams will settle for a tie. The Jacks have 5 of those. The Bears have a pair. Hershey has won 7 of its last 8. They've lost only 2 of their last 17, and they have a glowing record of 20 wins, only 5 losses and 2 ties in their last 27 outings. The Jacks looking to snap a 2-game losing streak, hoping to climax this 4-game homestand on a high note. They are 1-2 in the previous 3. They'll embark on a 2-game road trip tomorrow night in Adirondack, Sunday night in Newmarket. Both games right here on the Jacks Hockey Network, 7:15. Byron Lomo for the Jacks to check Mitch Lamoureux on the faceoff. Lomo will control back to his own line for Gagne. Wayne Gagne on right wing at center. At the Hershey line for Gord Whitaker. He just poked it in along the boards, and Fenves will control. Fenves pass at center on right wing for Steve Smith, who hits the Baltimore line, shooting. Bannerman the pad save. Rebound to the left circle. Deneen will control. Now Sean Deneen breaks out of the pack on left wing at center. He sends Gord Whitaker charging after it behind the goal. Whitaker overpowers Smith but couldn't reach the puck in time. Seabrook is there. Len Seabrook across on right wing at his own line for Fenves, scampering to center. Over the Baltimore line, right circle for Dobbin, across right in front for Lamoureux, to the doorstep for Dobbin, right across the crease, and Dobbin was checked at the last instant by Whitaker. The puck skids all the way across the backboards, right side for Gagne, checked there by Seabrook, contained left point by Stevens, the screen shot, Bannerman the save. Rebound in the right circle, and Lomo lifts it into Hershey territory. 1 minute gone in overtime. Fenves at his own line. On left wing at center for Stevens, who steps it over the Baltimore line. John Stevens drove it around the backboards into the right corner for Berube, who was waiting for it. He had his pocket picked though by Alfie Turcotte. Now Turcotte springs out of the pack on left wing at center. Storms in over the Hershey line, ducking underneath the check of Stevens' right boards with a centering pass. Deflected over the glass into the crowd behind the Hershey goal. No further play. I believe that Turcotte centering pass may have deflected off J.J. Daigneault, who had forced the Turk wide to the right wing boards on that Jacks offensive effort. 3:37 remaining in overtime, and it's a 1-1 tie for the Baltimore Arena. Hershey has the only 2 shots on goal thus far. The face-off, once play resumes, will be circle left of Wendell Young, making his first appearance against the Skipjacks this season, yielding to Daryl Gilmore in the previous 6, all Gilmore victories. No and Biggs on the face-off. Sticks come down. One by No. Twisting and turning into the right corner. He just poked it in behind the goal because he had broken his stick. Controlled by the Bears. Al Hill sends Don Biggs springing to center. Biggs speeds in over the Baltimore line, left circle, centered it, Daigneault right in front, and he fired it wide. The rebound in the left circle, sprawling his No to clear to the line. Daigneault contains right point with a screen shot, and that was wide. And the Jacks break out. JF No to center, high steps it to the Hershey line, pulls up, leaves it on the left point for Toomey with a shot. Stick save Young. Rebound left boards for Kiprios. Kiprios up the boards for Biggs. Stolen by Gagne, who was barging in from the point, but Hill was there to check Gagne. Al Hill on left wing at center for Nick Kiprios, but it traveled 2 lines, and the Bears are offside. 2:50 remaining in overtime, and it's a 1-1 duel from the Baltimore Arena. The face-off will originate barely inside the Hershey line. The origination of Al Hill's ill-fated clearing pass. Alfie Turcotte with a 5-game scoring streak, 4 goals, 11 points. Scott Harlow a 6-game streak on 6 goals, 5 assists for his 11 points. Both ranked among the endangered species here now, with only 2:50 left in overtime in this 1-1 duel. Bears entered tonight's game 1 point better. Make it 2 ahead of Rochester and 3 ahead of third place Binghamton in that log jam. Now from the faceoff, Fenves behind the goal, whipped it around the boards on left wing for Steve Smith at his own line to center. Smith over the Baltimore line, leaves it top of the left circle for Seabrook with a shot. Bannerman the save. That shot seemed to take a rather unusual hop off either the blade of his stick or the heel of his pad. And that puck was fluttering in front of him. Alfie Turcotte was set to drag it out of the crease, but Bannerman preferred to secure it. And fortunately for the Jacks, Bannerman won that personal test. And Murray Bannerman, I think, had a few, I think that he and Turcotte, shall we say, were communicating after Bannerman had finally smothered it. Turcotte was set to drag it away from that yawning, unguarded crease, but Bannerman wanted to secure it and allow the Jacks to regroup. Now, Hershey coach John Paddock will spend his 30-second timeout with a crucial face-off confronting the Jacks in their defensive zone, and it should be circle right of Murray Bannerman with 2:33 remaining in overtime. So the Hershey Mentor plot strategy with his charges. In the meantime, Skipjacks GM coach Gino Briaco, very animated behind his own bench as he imparts instruction to his forces. This has been really a superb effort by the Skipjacks here tonight against a Hershey team that has absolutely dominated them the last 2 years, winning 9 in a row. 3 straight right here in Baltimore. Okay, we're set. We'll see what strategy was plotted now as it will all unfold. Circle right of Bannerman, Baltimore goal, 2:33 for regulation. It's a 1-1 duel. It'll be Byron Lomo and Mitch Lamoureux, his check, to vie for the faceoff. Sticks come down. Won by Lomo. Covered behind the goal by Hoover, winding it around the boards. It comes back to Hoover after Fenves pinched in. Now Hoover around the backboards into the right corner for Lomo, who drops back for it. Now Lomo headmans at right boards for Richer, who whipped it past Smith at the blue line, down ice. Smith chased him behind the goal by Turcotte. He finally loses the Alfie Turcotte check. Smith in the middle at center for Lamoureux. Over the Baltimore line, leaves it top of the right circle for Fenves, pulling up. Now Fenves behind the goal for Lamoureux, right in front for Seabrook. Swept away brilliantly by Bannerman. All the way back to the Hershey blue line, under 2 minutes for overtime. Now Fenves along the left wing boards at his own line. At center for Seabrook, over the Baltimore line for Dobbin, right circle, shooting high over top of the net. The rebound up on right wing at the Baltimore line for Shedden. Across on left wing at center for Harlow at the Hershey line with a shot. Young the save, a big rebound in front, but Shedden had been checked by Lamoureux and back from the Bears. Dobbin to center over the Baltimore line, dropped it for Seabrook, right in front for Dobbin. Fake shoots, spectacular save by Bannerman with 1:24 left in overtime. He robbed Brian Dobbin point blank range. Puck all the way back behind the Hershey goal. Lemieux controls his lead pass, seized at the blue line by Lomo on right wing as he suddenly materialized. Lomo drove it in behind the goal, but Lemieux will recapture it there. Now the count up on left wing at center for Kyprios. Over the Baltimore line for Biggs. He wheels in front and Deneen muscled him with a minute left in overtime. Puck behind the goal. Controlled by the Skipjacks. Deneen swept it to center. Steve Smith will hit the Baltimore line with it. Sidesteps the check of Gagne in front. But Deneen is on the scene to control it in the right corner. Now Deneen angles it across the left wing at his own line for Meitner. Meitner at center for Shedden at the Hershey line. Shooting! Kicked out by Young. The rebound right in front. Meitner's fired at it, and it just chopped in over by the goal post, and it's finally scooped up by the goaltender Young. No further play. And both teams are really closing this spirited affair with a flourish. 32 seconds left in overtime. Jacks won. Hershey won. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Baltimore Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficarelli rejoining you live. And the natives are alive and well here on New Year's night here at the Baltimore Arena. This has been an aroused Skipjack contingent. And after Hershey had stormed and swarmed the Jacks goal, the Jacks came right back and did the same. Boy, I'll tell you, both goaltenders earned stars in the game tonight. Hershey 45 shots, Jacks 38, and we're still locked in a 1-1 duel. Perkins in the face of Lamoureux. The latter controlled it behind the goal for Fenves. Leaving it there for Daigneault. Up on right wing in his own line for Brian Dobbin, and he'll take off. Dobbin at center. Over the Baltimore line, and Lamoureux is offside, flying in on right wing. No further play, and Lamoureux stalks the linesman, Brian Murphy. And he really expresses himself in no uncertain terms. Faceoff will be outside the Jacks line. Below us on their left wing. 21 precious seconds remaining in overtime. It's a 1-1 tie. Jacks have a 9-game losing streak against Hershey. Faceoff will be outside their line. Terry Perkins, no. Byron Lomo has had a superb game tonight. He has been extraordinary defensively, as he has limited Mitch Lamoureux to that one assist, and that actually was produced on a Hershey power play back at 5:55 of the second period. Lomo won the faceoff and drove it right through Lamoureux's legs, all the way in behind the Hershey goal. Tracked down by Fenves. His lead pass off Lamoureux's stick to center zone. Richer on right wing. Rifles it around the Hershey backboard left corner for Meitner. Meitner centered it. Boy, Lomo and Whitaker were at the doorstep, and it was knocked away by Dowd, who fires it to the goaltender Bannerman at the horn. And the Skipjacks have earned the tie and snapped their 9-game losing streak dating back to last season against the Hershey Bears. Now a couple of the Hershey players are probing their sticks over the glass as one of the Skipjacks fans decides